Hey, what is up? It is the Enhancement Talent here on a Monday. Rob on vacation, but Travis Sams is here.
Filling in. There's just some big shoes to fill, but
yeah.
I think I got it.
Yeah, he's got some big feet.
Yeah, he does.
And Eric Cornish here, as always, as we come off the biggest party of the summer, talking about Summerslam. And what a show was. 4 hours last night. It was long, but it didn't feel too long. But definitely some things to talk about, I think.
There's quite a few things to talk about within SummerSlam. It was the first ever 4-hour SummerSlam.
Yeah?
I probably could have been okay with it still being 3. I think 3 would have been alright.
Yeah, but it was nice to see a lot of good matches, and I can't say that any of them were bad. There were a few that were just okay.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I will quote a text I got from one of my friends and some things I saw online. 2 really good matches, 2 really bad finishes.
Yes.
So let's talk about, obviously, the big elephants in the room here. Let's start with the title match, which the right outcome was Seth Rollins taking both titles, I think. Really, really unexpected run-in from Jon Stewart.
Yes. Well, first off, I was confused by the fact that, okay, we still got about 2 hours to go, and this match is already on. Something's going to happen. Something's got to happen. And I didn't expect Jon Stewart. I thought Triple H or Ric Flair.
I got to tell you, Ric Flair was my thought after kind of watching Raw and how everything played out.
Yeah.
And where they talked about Flair, like the dirtiest player in the game, it would only make sense that he would want to protect his record. So I saw maybe a Flair, classic low blow or something happening. Jon Stewart had never once crossed my mind.
Well, when Jon Stewart was backstage doing his promos, I thought he's got to run into Rollins. He's got to run into Rollins.
Sure.
They had that classic, feud on the Daily Show, whatever.
Right, but all of his focus was on Lesnar.
It was, and then
so which was a bit
this
of a
came out of nowhere. I don't know that I get it. I'm sure they'll explain it tonight.
Anybody gets it.
And they'll explain it tonight, probably.
Here's my problem. Well, and I'll get back to that. So weird finish, great match leading up to that.
Absolutely.
Amazing. And to me, I'm gonna put that on top of any of the Owens matches that Cena had. Because and Rob and I have talked about this quite a bit, because what you had with the Owens match, they were great matches. But the problem I had, there were too many big, huge spots or big finishing moves that were kicked out of. Now, there were a lot of kickouts here, but it looked more, instead of going for the finish over and over again and kicking out, like Rollins especially was coming up with new things that you hadn't seen before and making it work, but then it would get kicked out, and that's fine with me.
Yeah.
So that's why I liked it better than the Owens match.
And that's the thing about the match that I did love is, prior to this match, normally every other time we've seen Rollins with a championship match, he's always had his backup, whatever. Mm-hmm. We know he can wrestle. We know he's good. We know there's a reason why he's the champion. And this match, he blew everyone away. Like, this is what he should be doing. Yeah. Minus the white gear. I didn't get it.
Since you went ahead and mentioned it, everybody's been talking about a possible Rollins face turn, which I don't think he's anywhere close to being a babyface, at least before this match.
Absolutely not.
And even if Triple H were to have a match with him, I see Triple H being the babyface here. That's the way I look at it. Until last night, because now last night, the moves that he was pulling off, the white gear, the symbolic white gear, he maybe headed that direction quicker than we think. I don't know. That's just a thought.
And here's the thing. You said that you think it was the right call for him to win.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. But had he have not won, he would have been so much more over as a heel than anything. Imagine, you already see him complaining now.
Right. Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart, yeah.
Well, we'll move on from that. Interesting, because obviously nobody's going to know where this is going until we get there. I had a bigger problem with this finish because I don't see a payoff from it. I don't know where you could go.
The question I have with this, it leads into Night of Champions. Every title's on the line. Do we have a rematch, or does Seth Rollins have 2 different matches?
That would be cool, too. We shall see. Let's talk about the main event of the night.
Oh, yeah.
and talk about another screwy finish here. Another great match, I will say. You want to talk about as bad as the match was that they had at WrestleMania, and as plotting and as just slow as that match was, this one was great.
It's great.
This was an amazing match. Taker was on his game more than I've seen him on his game in a long, long time. And Brock was there too. Brock did a good job selling, some of the, offense that Taker had and his comebacks, and the great moment where, Lesnar is laughing at him and Taker sits up and laughs back. And I
had to rewind that like 3 or 4 times.
Just wonderful. And then you get a very Russo-esque finish here. So it's
we should call it the Brooklyn Screwjob. That's what we should call it.
Kind of.
Almost.
Okay, so what happens is, here's the problem I have. Now, the finish is okay in theory. Okay?
Yes.
The finish is okay in theory because you have, I think they're trying to show that Undertaker, he has to pull out all the stops to get the victories these days, and he's getting closer and closer to the end. That's the story that they're telling. I see that. But then they also want to tell the story that Brock, he didn't lose, and he did, so there has to be a conflict because obviously we're going to have another match here. The problem with a weird finish like that is it's got to be obvious to the crowd. I mean, same way when if you're a heel and you're, let's go on the lowest level and you're gonna hit somebody with a chain.
Yeah.
Do you come over here and you hide the chain and you hit somebody and you put it back in without anybody seeing? No, you just want to make sure the ref doesn't see it.
Yeah.
But for the entire crowd, you're getting that wrap around the fist. Everybody knows you've got a chain and we see what's going on. For the Undertaker tap out, none of us knew what had happened. None of us saw it happen until they show a replay. So the crowd is completely out of it. The at home audience is all out of it. So it just kind of takes the wind out of your sails for a main event.
Well, but having said that, the crowd could not see it. The crowd had no idea. How could the timekeeper at that angle?
Right.
How could the timekeeper see him tap out?
And that's a very strange route to take.
Yes.
For a timekeeper to call for the bell on its own. I mean, that's a timekeeper you got to fire. Because that's not what they're supposed to do. So in theory, I like where they were going. I get where they were going. The execution of it was really, really bad.
Absolutely.
But that being said, 2 awesome matches.
Yes.
They were wonderful. And the rest of the card was great too. The tag team match I thought was great.
I loved the finish.
New Day.
That was great.
Yeah, I thought, I'm so glad that they ended up taking it. Let's see. Can we talk Divas for a second?
We can talk Divas.
This is exactly what's wrong with WWE and the revolution that's going on. And I've talked non-stop about it over the last few weeks. You don't need all of the divas in there to make a revolution. That just makes it what it has been all along, and that's exactly what it was last night. And if they don't do something about... See, you go to the previous night, we could do a whole show on NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Because a one-on-one match between Bayley and Sasha Banks completely outshined this match with 9 divas.
I just got chills. Look,
it was awesome.
That match was awesome.
It was awesome. And they could have even branched off of that, I thought, with a storyline here with the Divas, which could have happened. I just don't. I think it was one of those curtain call moments. You know what I mean?
This number here.
Yeah, which they could have gone with that. To be honest with you, I mean, can you see Tamina and Naomi going? So what was that about? To Sasha and Sasha hey, we've had a long run together. And then it come down to those 2 teams, and the Bellas get eliminated first, and then Paige makes a little turn too because she's not happy with her girl.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have happened, but all that aside, the Divas match was exactly what I thought it would be. It was a little bit of a cluster. It was. The
finish of that I didn't get.
It did not showcase the Divas the way that this revolution is all about. So
yes.
Let's make a pact from this point on. Let's separate them into different storylines. They're all there. We know who they are.
You got 3 hours of Raw. Yeah. Why don't you just make multiple Divas matches?
Got plenty of time for that. Let's see, what else we had? The triple threat for the Intercontinental, it was what it was.
Again, another finish that... Ryback stole the win in that one.
Yeah,
I thought Miz was going to steal a win. Ryback stole the win.
So that was interesting.
Tag team, the Wyatt.
That was a great match.
I liked it. Although at some point in that match, I thought that someone was going to make a heel turn.
I thought so too. Just with Roman being out for so long and everything, but that didn't happen. It was still a good match though. I liked it, and I liked the clean finish, and it was good. I'm perfectly fine with that. The kind of non-finish with Ziggler and Rusev
didn't get it.
But that's okay. The feud still goes on. I'm not a fan of that feud. I mean, I like both of these guys, but just get the ladies out of there. Yeah. But I don't think they're going to. I think the ladies are now going to be added in, obviously. So, I mean, everything. Here's the one other thing I will mention from last night, which is very atypical for a WWE pay-per-view. Almost every match had a dive out of the ring.
Even Stephen Amell.
Yeah. No, Orton and Sheamus didn't.
No.
But that's okay. They're ground and pound, whatever. But almost every other match had a dive to the outside, which was a little too much for me.
The Divas match had like 6 of them.
Yeah. I mean,
back to back.
Even Cesaro took a flip
that match,
to the outside.
We haven't talked about that match. What did you think? To me, I thought that was going to be match of the night.
It was an excellent match, but it was just kind of it was in that second to last spot, which is like the throwaway match, which is that's kind of sad that's where that match was.
Absolutely.
And it was still good, but it was just in that match, second to last, that semi-main spot, which is not a semi-main anymore. It's like, okay, get ready because something big's coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but I thought it was good, and I was cool with everything that happened in that match. And like I said, with everything that went on the night before, I mean, again, that's a whole other episode, which we could talk about later on in the week if we need to. The NXT takeover, just excellent, excellent. And I mean, it's so big for NXT to be there in front of that huge crowd, and the crowd ate it up the entire night. Loved all the matches.
Do you expect them to do that at WrestleMania?
I would hope.
Friday.
Well, I don't know that you do it at the WrestleMania venue, but you would do it.
Well, not at the WrestleMania venue,
but maybe at the Raw venue.
Yeah, at the Raw venue, maybe that Friday. And then you got the Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame, yeah, I can see that.
I think that's perfect.
And I think you feature at least one NXT match and maybe a title match on WrestleMania.
I agree. NXT title match, WrestleMania, or NXT women's title match.
Yeah. But it's we've got a lot more to talk about with NXT as well, because that, I mean, was a whole story in itself. But overall SummerSlam grade, what would you give it?
I'll go with the C, because it really was. It didn't do much for me.
A lot of good matches, and I can't hate on the matches. They definitely provided for some good entertainment, but because of two, not just one, but two really screwy finishes in the biggest matches of the night, I'm going to go with the C too.
Yeah.
But NXT Takeover.
Oh, that's an A+ all the way.
Yeah, that's an easy A.
That's an easy A.
So it's kind of weird the way that it worked out, but
the rookies are showing up the veterans.
Well, and I don't know if it's not the stars themselves. It's kind of who's running the show and how the show is put together. I don't know. This will be talked about, I think, for the next year. I think this NXT thing is going to kind of take on a life of its own more than it already has. So,
I agree.
So we will see. But anyway, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. We've still got a keyword to give out for you. I almost forgot. A keyword for the WWE Network. 6 months of the network. We still have 2 more keywords this week and then 1 next week. And the keyword today, we will throw out, let's see, how about Stewart? As in Jon Stewart. Because, I mean, he's the biggest player right now.
He's all over that show.
So, anyway, Stewart is your keyword. Make sure you enter it below if you're watching us on the website. If you're watching us on the YouTube channel, you'll find the link below as well. And you can win 6 months of the WWE Network. And really 7 months because your first month's free.
But now, in that period of time, wouldn't that mean, if my math's right, that WrestleMania would be free?
You got that right.
Bam.
On us, the Enhancement talent. For Rob, who's out today, Travis Sams, I'm Eric Cornish. Subscribe, and we'll see you soon.